there's a pattern on the ones and threes of revenue that is just like this natural phenomenon that happens in business. And most business owners aren't even aware that it's happening. Everywhere along the way, as you triple in revenue from 100,000 to 300,000, from 300,000 to a million, from 1 to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30, and so on, every time you triple, the machine you've built is maxed out at what it can do. And until you shift gears, it's kind of like riding your bike. You're in a gear, you're pedaling, you've gained some momentum, and then you don't get much more output for more effort. You pedal harder and harder and harder, but you don't get more output until or unless you shift gears. And when you shift to the next gear, now that effort can really be put to work, and that bicycle moves further, faster, right? Our business is the same thing.
Welcome to the channel, everyone. We're excited to share. We've got a great episode here today. Guys, we're always trying to bring new relevant content on the channel that's ultimately going to help you guys with your financial future. We've got a special guest on here today I'm going to introduce to you here in a minute. Now, guys, this is not for everyone. A lot of these videos that we do and put on the channel here are not as specific. So we are well aware that our audience out there, some people are brand new, trying to just really get a jump start on their financial future. Some have been doing it for a number of years. Some are obviously a little bit more advanced. A lot of our content, we just try and hit the entire spectrum, so something that would apply from the newbie all the way up to the pro. Today is not going to be that episode. So I just want to go on record. We're going to encourage you to stick through here because there's going to be tremendous amounts of nuggets from just an absolute expert in really all things business at this point. He's worked with hundreds of companies across the United States and around the world, helping them to develop their teams. I'm not going to steal his thunder on that, but just because you are not a business owner at this point does not mean that you might not want to be one or might not become one here in the future. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Brett Gilliland. He is co-founder and CEO of Elite Entrepreneurs. So welcome, Brett. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, Michael. Thanks for having me on your wonderful channel here. This is a great place for people who want to think about their financial future and learn how to build their wealth. It's fabulous, the amount of content you guys have. So I'm just humbled to be part of it.
No, we certainly appreciate that. And, like I said from the outset here, just bringing experts on, I can talk all day about doing my own research and I bring a lot of that content, Matthew does as well, onto the channel. But when we can have experts in the field, particularly with your extensive background, and I'm going to ask you to dive into that. So, when we do these videos, who the heck are you? What do y'all do? And why should our audience be listening to you right now?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the little almost heads up at the beginning for people that this won't be for everyone. So let me tell you who it will be for, and then I'll explain more about me. It'll be extremely relevant. It's hyper relevant for people who are in that 7-figure growth journey as business owners. So if they're one of the only 3 to 5% of businesses that ever make it to $1 million in revenue, this is for them, right? If they're in that $1 million to $10 million growth journey as a business owner, this is for them. Now, it won't apply to your solopreneurs, right? It won't apply to passive investors. It won't apply to all the other great people that you have coming to this channel. But if they're a business owner trying to figure out how to grow their 7-figure business, or they're fast approaching that, or they have aspirations to do that as a business owner, there's going to be plenty for them today. You mentioned that, one of the companies the company that this business spun out of was called Infusionsoft. And you see my little mural. This is 10 years worth of t-shirts cut up and kind of pegged to a board over here. But at Infusionsoft, we grew from 7 figures to 10 million and beyond. Actually, we grew to 100 million. And while I said my focus is on the 1 to 10 million journey, we certainly know what that 10 to 100 million journey looks like as well. But all we do at Elite Entrepreneurs is help 7-figure business owners learn how to do the 7-figure growth work that is necessary if they want to keep going past $1 million. So I don't know how much more you want to get into background, but that's probably enough to get people to go, oh, that's interesting to me, or yeah, that's not really for me.
So with that, Brett, if you don't mind kind of connecting the dots. So it started off as the Infusionsoft, which, most people on our channel are going to have some familiarity with at least. It's a kind of that back-end CRM product, if you will. How did you guys get where you're at now? What was the evolution of that? What did that look like? And why in the world, when you guys had just a wildly successful company already, did you think to do the spinoff?
Yeah, great questions, Michael. So what we did is we took, and like you said, Infusionsoft is a CRM where marketing automation is core to the success of small businesses growing. So we dedicated all of our time and energy helping small businesses grow through CRM and marketing automation software. So we did that for years. In fact, that company still exists. They rebranded. It's now called Keep. But I was there for 10 years at Infusionsoft, helping it to grow. Along the way that we grew that so well over that 10-year period is that we learned how to make the shifts that are necessary at each of the stages of business. And we'll come back around to the stages of business. In fact, I shared a little infographic type of thing with you that I know you all can share with the viewers as we talk about it. So we'll come back to that. But at Infusionsoft, we were growing fast. And this is kind of chicken and egg stuff, but we had an amazing team with an amazing culture. We were totally focused on some shared objectives, and we learned how to get a group of people to take targeted, coordinated action together towards some shared objectives. That's when you really unlock the power of high performance in a business. So there's great performance, great morale. The culture was amazing. We got recognized for all these national Great Place to Work awards, local awards here in the Phoenix area. So we were growing fast with a great team, with a great vibe. People like yourself would come and visit the office and go, whoa, this is different. Not just because there was cereal.
I was in Silicon Valley in Phoenix or something like that. It was great.
Yeah. We kind of built a Silicon Valley type of company here in the desert where nobody else had really done that before. And again, it drew lots of attention. We raised capital, several rounds of capital to be able to grow. So we just had a great experience. Well, because we were serving small businesses, they were seeing how successful we were at the journey that they were trying to go on. And so they started to request, can you guys teach us some of this business building thing that you're doing so well? And so it was at their request that we started to do that. And our first class was December of 2011. So coming up on 10 years now of teaching hundreds and hundreds of businesses in that 1 to 10 million space, how to do the work of creating a business that can keep scaling and not hit those ceilings that tend to happen.
Yeah, and let me just talk from a personal standpoint again, and you and I spoke offline, over the weekend setting this call up. I was very skeptical, and you kind of laughed about that. We had a couple chuckles over it, but my partner Scott he's a big meeting guy. He loves the seminar world. He loves, breaking down into small groups. For me, that's just never been something that I've really gravitated towards. So I reluctantly went. And I said, well, we're spending the money. We flew our executive team out there, and we've been out there multiple times, obviously pre-pandemic. You guys are starting to potentially get back into that live training for obvious reasons. That's been on pause, but I was blown away. When I walked in and I tried to have this frown on my face, and you're up there at the front of the room and introducing your staff, and I'm looking around, and I think the first one we went to, there were maybe 30 small business owners in there. Also, I've got to tell you, guys, the best snacks ever. We've implemented that into our...
If for no other reason, people should pay attention for the snacks, right?
That's exactly right. It's just a smorgasbord every morning. You just have the best stuff. So I went in with that very, very skeptical, just very hesitant mindset. And very quickly, literally morning of day number one, I said, man, these guys are just really onto something. Our business, we'd been in existence for a number of years. We had obviously crossed several years earlier that $1 million threshold. So for us, it was, we kind of felt plateaued a little bit. And so if you don't mind kind of diving into what kind of mindset you have to have in order to implement this. I don't know if you can see behind me here, but you guys talk about your Everest mission. I literally on my wall in my studio here in Oklahoma City have Mount Everest on there.
Love
And
it.
so I reference that every single day. You guys have the, the mountain on your graphics that we're going to dive into here, but it really resonated. We went back, after that first session there, we put our mission statement up on the wall. We talked about the values of our company, which, we had really never broken those down. What's important to us? Who are we trying to align with? What would a good hire look like for us? If they don't share those same core values, then they're not the right fit, period. And I also want to dive in later on the episode on one of the most challenging things as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is hiring. So, if you could kind of just start at the top there, that'd be great.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into the stages document, and then I'm going to answer that question. So don't let me off the hook, Michael. But the stages are really important as a backdrop, as context for people to get their brains around what happens here and why what we're going to talk about is important. So the stages of small business growth, we insert the word growth, even though the graphic says stages of small business on it. But you'll notice a really important pattern. I'm not getting into all the details on this graphic. People can actually, request a free download of that from our website, and we can talk about how to do that later if they want. Sure. But let me share the essence of it with you. The essence of it is this. There's a pattern on the 1s and 3s of revenue that is just like this natural phenomenon that happens in business, and most business owners aren't even aware that it's happening. So if you get nothing else out of our time together, for you listeners out there, I hope you'll take this one thing away. If you're a business owner and you're finding struggles on the 1s and 3s, you start to hit little plateaus. You start to feel that the effort required to move the business forward is just a little more than it should be, or at least than you think or you feel it should be. And so on the 1s and 3s of revenue, there are distinct stages. So what do I mean? From 100,000 to 300,000. There's the solopreneur thing you'll see in the graphic here. Stage 1 is kind of split between, the person doing the side hustle thing. They still got their main job, but they're doing the side hustle thing. And I imagine a lot of people on your channel are in that spot. They want to go create a new path for themselves. So you might be in this side hustle phase, and eventually you kind of get up enough will and grit and excitement to jump all in on this and do it full time. And this becomes a job for you, right? But you're self-employed. Anyway, stage 2 is from 100,000 to 300,000. Stage 3, 300,000 to $1 million. By the way, for those of you who have cracked through that $1 million mark, roughly 3% of businesses that ever start make it to $1 million. Like, it's a rare few, which is why we actually call our business Elite Entrepreneurs. We named it after all of you who've done that. You're elite. So you're in elite rare air at $1 million. But everywhere along the way, as you triple in revenue, think about the implications from 100,000 to 300,000, from 300,000 to $1 million, from 1 to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30, and so on. They keep going. Every time you triple, the machine you've built is maxed out at what it can do. And until you shift gears, it's kind of like riding your bike. You're in a gear, you're pedaling, you've gained some momentum, and then you don't get much more output for more effort. You pedal harder and harder and harder, but you don't get more output until or unless you shift gears. And when you shift to the next gear, now that effort can really be put to work, and that bicycle moves further, faster, right? Our business is the same thing. On the 1s and 3s, there's a shift that needs to happen. And most of the businesses that make it to $1 million tend to cap out somewhere between 1 and 2 million. Sometimes they push to 1.2, they pedal faster, they pedal hard, 1.7, 1.8, but they hit a ceiling in there until they learn the work required to shift to the next level. They're not going to go much further. And a lot of them are in pain. A lot of these business owners are like, I'm completely overwhelmed. I'm spending all of my time reacting to things. I can't ever work on the business because I'm stuck in it. Why can't I hire great people? They seem to be hard to find, like great people who will own things. All of my employees just feel like more headaches. I mean, there's so much that happens at that spot where you are personally holding it all together as the business owner, and a shift has to happen if you want to keep going. So we're experts in that shift, Michael. So hopefully that was helpful content.
No, that was a great summary of that. And that's really what it boils down to. They have to want to shift. So when we're talking about the good fit versus the bad fit for this, some business owners are super content with where they're at right now. They don't necessarily, and with our pink model, success means something different to everyone. And this is not a pink video here, but I'm just using my own personal business experience with you guys on here. And it was about developing a company culture, which we thought we had a great one until we went to your classes and realized that we just didn't, right? So that company culture, and since then it's really been accelerated growth based on that. Like you said, they're working on instead of in the business. Most entrepreneurs, it's their baby, right? And it's, they just want to love it and squeeze it and do all what they think are the right things. But in order to scale, ultimately it's detrimental to their growth. So you guys getting them out of, or getting folks like us out of that mindset, that experience was really eye-opening. So let's talk about who it's not good for. What is the mindset of people that this is not a good fit? If they're just happy with status quo, they don't mind the long hours, even if it's not generating additional revenues or income for them. If you could talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a really good fit for people who aren't interested in growing. The focus really needs to be on growth. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean revenue growth at all costs, right? But growth in terms of their freedom around, can I spend my time the way that I want to? Growth in terms of their enjoyment. Do I enjoy coming to the office, or does it feel like I just created myself a job that now I'm imprisoned to, right? It's really ironic. Most of the business owners we work with, they've spent their proverbial blood, sweat, and tears creating this business, giving this business life, only to find themselves prisoner to it. Michael, think about that. They become prisoner to their own making, their own creation. And it's because they think they personally have to make sure everything happens the way it needs to. Got to make sure the customers are happy. Got to make sure that the bills get paid. Got to make sure payroll happens. Like, they personally feel the weight of all of it and don't know how to organize it in a way that a growing group of people can take targeted, coordinated action towards a shared group of objectives, right? A very clear purpose, values, mission, the things that can align a team to really move together well together, to really move together well. They can't see that because they're so busy in it. So if they're reticent to let go of the steering wheel, this isn't very good for them. If they don't really want some kind of growth or better outcome or performance in their business, this wouldn't be for them. If they see having a team as like, aren't people just headaches? Like, more employees means more headaches. I hesitate to say that because a lot of people have come to our program and changed that mindset and been able to work through it. But if you're just adamant, no, it's just easier for me when the team is small. Let's just max this thing out. We'll pedal like crazy. As long as I can, I'll amass as much wealth or as much cash as I can, and then I'll exit or shut it down or whatever. But they're not looking to grow a team to build the future of their business. They want to keep that to like 2 or 3 helpers only. And we're just going to go as fast and as far as we can with those, this really small team. So It's not really good for people who don't want to grow a team. They just can't see themselves letting go. Like, they're too integral to the thing happening. And I'm not talking about having to be completely hands off, but if you want to grow your business at the $1 million plus mark, you have to be able to get yourself out of the superhuman entrepreneur mode, and you got to start becoming a leader of people. You got to help set a vision, a clear destination, a clear purpose for why we would all do this together in the first place. And you start creating a team and a sense of culture and camaraderie, like you alluded to earlier. And you get a lot of clarity and alignment, and lo and behold, people start to move together faster. So anyway, I think I may have gotten off track with your question, but as you can tell, I'm super passionate about this. I've seen it work so many times with so many types of business owners.
What industries have you worked with? So we've got folks that are watching, on here right now that, are maybe doing a side hustle and they're thinking about taking it to the next level. A lot of people that are on our channel are watching because they've got that W-2 and they're sick and tired of it for whatever reason, whether they want to make more money, they want to control their hours, spend more time with their family. Everyone's got their why. And obviously we've talked about that on the channel here before. What's their why? And when you can figure out what that driving force is, then you make moves just based on that being the ultimate end goal. So if you don't mind rattling off, industries that you guys have worked with. And
absolutely. We just did a little inventory of this the other day to improve some of our own marketing, right? But we've served, it's fascinating. We have financial services companies. And what I mean is like financial planner types. We also have CFO and accounting types in there. We have marketing agencies, quite a few marketing agencies. We have software companies. We have construction or trade companies. We have manufacturing companies. We have lawyers. We have clinics, healthcare types of companies. There are just so many types of businesses that we've served over the years. And the reason is that every business who's trying to make this transition from entrepreneur, $1 million entrepreneur to now I need a $10 million CEO to run this thing, right? There's a couple shifts in there from 1 to 3 and 3 to 10, where there's work that has to be done to develop the business, develop the capabilities of the team, and it's not industry specific. So wide variety of industries. The one, I would say the 1 or 2 exclusions, again, going back to if it's like an infopreneur who just wants to sell some information products online, not build a team, right? They're gonna do a ton of automation and marketing online and do everything online, not gonna build a team. Then all of our vision and leadership and culture building stuff is just a lot less applicable for that type of business. So if you're going to grow with the team, it almost doesn't matter what industry you're going to be in.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point right there. People will say, oh, well, this is not going to be applicable to my specific industry or my business. They're always going to maybe try and exclude themselves there. And I just have a prime example. We got there and I'm wondering, who the heck's going to be here? What type of businesses? And I remember water purification. I remember husband and wife team, they had like 2 or 3 skating rinks, and they were doing millions of dollars with skating rinks, and they were looking to scale
entertainment centers, right?
Yeah, and that to me was super eye-opening. We went in there as a real estate business, obviously, and I'm thinking that it was all going to be that, I guess kind of more white collarish business and, folks that were in financial industries and real estate and things of that nature.
We have 2 cleaning companies right now. We've got an air compressor company. They sell, install, service industrial size, air compressors. They describe themselves as blue collar guys, simple, but they apply the principles, and they've grown from $1 million mark now to they're pushing 6 to 10 million now, right? So 1 to 3 happens often with us, and the ones who continue to do what we're teaching, they're going from 3 to 10.
Now that's amazing. I mean, that's not a light amount of money, obviously, to generate from a revenue standpoint for an air compressor business. I'm not super familiar with them. Obviously, we're not going to throw names out here, but the family entertainment one blew me away, and for them to have the foresight that they've got that business, which is typically just local, they're not out there online doing business all over the country, which so many businesses can do these days just based on availability and communication with the entire world. So for them to have that foresight, that really, I was a little awestruck, honest. I was very impressed with them. And I don't want to keep harping on that example, but if you're watching the video from home right now and you're discounting yourself because you don't think that your business would be applicable to these strategies, you're dead wrong. Brett, what would you say to someone that's out there that is in that W-2, they're transitioning into, whatever side hustle it is, they've got something that they're passionate about on the side. You talk or have talked often, and obviously part of your education is that once you get to that $1 million mark, then that's someone that you would start to work with. What do you say to the person that's doing $200,000 a year or $500,000 a year? What advice could you give them on this channel where they're not necessarily working with you in that capacity, but what kind of tidbits could you give those folks to help them really get over that hump?
anybody who's watched the video this long, right? We've gone through a lot. So at this point, let's give those who are still interested a little value. We'll call it the Elite Business Growth Method. And you talked about the visual with the mountain on it. So the Elite Business Growth Method, you can see it here on the video, it's got 4 main parts to it. At the top, and I don't care what size of business you are, any size business will benefit from these 4 concepts that I'm going to share quickly on this image. Okay, you see the mountain graphic at the top. We know that every business needs to be led by somebody who can set the vision. That's one of the things that holds most entrepreneurs back. They have vision, they know what they want to do from a product and market standpoint, but sometimes they limit their vision and/or they're not good at enrolling others in the process. And so we teach people, and I would advise any business owner of any size business to do this. Enroll your people in a process of articulating the purpose, the values, and the mission, the destination that you're up to as a business. So that first concept of set the vision applies to anyone who's trying to lead a business of any size.
Even if it's a husband-wife team.
Yep, husband-wife team, solopreneur, or somebody who's ready to start hiring a team member or 2 to help them. We need to be clear about what we're doing, where we're going, how we're going to get there. So clarity first through setting vision. The next 2 parts are side by side. If you look at the mountain, the left side of the mountain says long-term strategic progress. The right side of the mountain says short-term operational excellence. Most business owners get stuck. They get sucked into the day-to-day operations of the business because they built that. They lived their whole life in that business, in that space. And so they're the master tinkerers of everything they have to do with getting customers, fulfilling on that product or service they sold, doing customer service, accounting, like they do it all, right? They wear all the hats in the short-term side of their business. But this image is trying to invite you to make time and space, be very intentional for the long-term side of your business. How are you going to grow it if you only deal with the day-to-day? So the short-term side is on the right of that image. The long-term side is on the left of that image. You have to acknowledge that there are 2 sides to your business, and you've got to stop neglecting the short-term side. You've got to break into planning and executing for the long-term as well. So there's a both thing that has to happen. And you'll see from the image, we'd like for about 80% of the collective attention, resources, focus to go to the operational side of the business. And if you can get 20%, even 10% of your time, energy, focus, resources going to the long-term side, you will see more progress in your business. The last element, final element, is across the bottom. We call it the meeting rhythm, but it's actually the key that enables you to spend enough time in the short term and the long term. What we want is to act as one team, right? Targeted, coordinated action as one team towards a shared vision. And the meeting rhythm enables you to do that, from annual and quarterly planning that are all strategic, all the way down to daily and weekly meetings that are all operational, and a very critical monthly meeting that sort of bridges the operational and the strategic. Okay, but if you put in a good meeting rhythm, you'll spend enough time on the short term and the long term. The team there will be targeted, coordinated action on both sides of your business because you've set the vision very powerfully from the start. So I kind of throw up technically on you there because I'm passionate about this. This is what I do. This is what I know. But that's some value any business owner can take and start to think about and implement in their business.
We actually reached out to you when we were talking about bringing you on the channel here, and you were gracious enough to put together unique ways for our folks, our audience, to work with you on multiple different levels. We certainly appreciated the concessions that you made from a price standpoint. These are just stacked, absolutely stacked with value, guys. So if you're interested at this point on how to work with Brett and his team, I'm going to go ahead and ask him to break down just kind of a basic summary of 3 different ways that they can work with you. We're always full transparency, full disclosure here on the channel, guys. If you are trying to build a business, or if you've got a business already right now, you are investing in yourself, you're investing in education. It does cost money to grow your business. So period, whether it's from a coaching standpoint or you're going out there and buying products, goods, and services, Brett's put together, and he and his team have put together a phenomenal kind of tiered approach based on your interest, obviously based on a financial investment standpoint, different ways where you can start working with them literally tomorrow to help accelerate your business, and you're going to be one of these results on there. And obviously once we get those great results back from our folks, we're going to ask you to come on the channel here, and then you be the living, breathing testimonial for what Brett's team brings to the table and how they've helped accelerate your business. So Brett, I know you've got the elite access, so if you want to start there and then kind of go down the tier, if you will.
Yeah, and we set the context with the stages, right? Every business grows through those stages. You can't avoid it. You can try to cheat that system. You'll always end up in burnout or some sort of revenue ceiling if you think you're going to grow past some of these natural stopping points that happen in a small business growth life cycle, if you will. So we set that with the stages. The elite business growth method that we shared with the mountain on it, and then I gave you some value already. That's the thing that we want to offer to all of you, the elite business growth method in more detail, very specific examples, right? That's what we do. We teach the elite business growth method. We help 7-figure business owners implement the work to be able to keep growing if they're in that 7-figure range. We're fast approaching it. So elite access.
Let me hit pause on you there real fast, because what if we've got someone that's watching the channel right now, and we talk about the 7 figures. What if they're at 6 figures? What if they're at $400, $500, $600,000 in revenue right now? Does that exclude them from being able to come on board if they're seeing, during a consultation call with you and your team, they can see that there is that potential growth trajectory? With this, the elite access, would that be something that you would maybe recommend out of the gate? Or if you could talk about that and then dive into the elite access as far as the kind of stacked value on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So elite access is appropriate for somebody who's not at $1 million yet. This is our home study version. This is the do-it-yourself, right? Membership-based sort of product that enables you to get all of the training, but it's through an online delivery, right? So it's not live delivery. So elite access can be done from anywhere, anytime. If you're doing the side hustle thing, or if you've only grown to, I say only, I honor and respect all entrepreneurs. I know what it's like to grind it out. So let's say you are at 400,000, 500,000, 6, 7. You're not at $1 million. The elite access version of the elite business growth method is a way for you to benefit from what I'm teaching you or what I'm introducing to you without going through our full experience. Our full experience is at a higher price point. And to be honest, it's for those people who are in the daily struggles of that 1 to 3 million journey, or the 3 to 10. And so even if you want to get ahead on that stuff, if you're not living it, it'll show up pretty quickly when you show up to class and others are like, wait a minute, you're still working on that? Or why are you asking that question? Because this is a space where everybody's dealing with similar challenges. So elite access is $19.97. You get the home study version through a membership site of ours for a year. It's login access. And that's good because you can do it anytime, any place, right? You can even share your access with your team members if you're trying to get them to implement with you. The challenge with it is you don't get live access to any of us. And so what we did is add something to Elite Access so that you get 2 opportunities a month for live interaction to ask questions. Now, at that price point and with as many people as we make this available to, we can't do one-on-one coaching, but we do group coaching twice a month. So if you're doing the home study program, right, you're doing Elite Access, you're following the steps that we're outlining in there, and you're running into challenges or you have a question, 2 times a month, you can get on, ask your question, get the help you need to keep going. So you don't have to be stuck. So you get 12 months of this membership, and you get 12 months of these 2 times a month group coaching options. That's everything you get for the $19.97.
So $19.97, you're getting the home study course. You're effectively getting 24 live coaching calls over the span of 12 months. That's phenomenal value. I know that that's not something that you guys had built into that. We appreciate you baking it in for our audience, of course. 24 live coaching sessions. Then you've got the middle tier, and that's going to be called the Elite Ignition.
Yeah, and we're actually calling this Elite Ignition Pro for your audience. It's different than the Elite Ignition we typically sell, even on our own website. So this is the only place they can get what I'm about to describe to you. They can get the core Elite Ignition that we sell on our website, which is valued at $29.97. But we have 2 bonuses that go with it. They bring up to 14 members with them. What we found is that business owners who come to our training experiences, and Elite Ignition is a live training opportunity. It's delivered via Zoom, so it's not in person, but it is live. So you get live training in a group setting. There'll be up to 8 businesses in this every month when we run it. And during this live opportunity, you can ask questions real time, but you're getting the nuance, you're getting the insights that's really hard to deliver in the home study course.
Yeah. And so just to be clear, you are capping it at a specific amount of attendees per month. And you said 8 was the number?
That's right. 8 companies a month. They're 2-hour Zoom meetings once a week for the month. So it's 4 2-hour Zoom meetings over time. And what's really cool about it, Michael, is we teach a concept and then they have a week. We give assignments, right? And then they have a week to work on those assignments. The other bonus we're doing here is 4 coaching calls. So 2-hour Zoom class, during the week, a coaching call. Now this is one-on-one. This is one of our coaches with you and your team, if you want to bring your team, and we're helping you do the work that we just taught you in the class. Mm-hmm. So 4 classes, 4 coaching calls following those classes to move you forward over the course of the month. And then finally, this bonus is also not available to others at this time. Our Elite Hiring Gauntlet. So this is a really cool thing. One of the biggest expenses, the biggest frustrations in owning a business is trying to build a team. And we often get hiring wrong. And oh, how costly that is, right?
More than often. That's about the hard. And I've been an entrepreneur, just to interject here, for 25 years at this point, have been involved in multiple startup businesses, have owned and still own multiple companies. The single hardest thing to do is find the right folks that fit your core company culture. You know, they're going to do the work the right way, that you can depend on. Turnover can set you back 6 months. I mean, you know, so to have high turnover in any industry, any business, I can speak firsthand. It is not only frustrating, but it is very expensive.
So we created this thing called our Elite Hiring Gauntlet, and it's for our members specifically so they can improve in their hiring. But we're going to add that as a bonus if they sign up for this Elite Ignition Pro. The price point on Elite Ignition Pro is $39.97. Mm-hmm. You get the home study version as well. If you want it, you can still access that. So this is additive, but on top of the home study version, you get these 2-hour Zoom meetings once a week for 4 weeks, these coaching calls, and this Elite Hiring Gauntlet. So we're really pouring on the value here. It's around $8,000 worth of value that we're offering for $39.97 for your community.
No, we appreciate that. And then finally, we've got the Elite VIP Exclusive, which did not exist. Correct me if I'm wrong, did not exist until
We just created it for you guys. Yeah. And that's why we called it exclusive. You know, I'll jump to the point here and I guess I'll spill the beans that the value we stacked in here is about $16,000 worth of value. The VIP, the Elite VIP Exclusive is priced at $79.97. So about half of what we put in the value in here, you guys can get it for being part of the VIP financial education community. Yeah. So everything in Elite Ignition Pro. Okay. So it's additive. Again, all of that stuff I talked about in Elite Ignition Pro, plus for the last almost 7 years now, we've been doing monthly training videos for our members on a variety of topics, all things that you could even imagine about running and growing a 7-figure business, things from how to have one-on-ones with my people, or performance reviews, or quarterly planning offsite agendas, or compensation, or on and on and on. Every month we have recorded videos for our members. And we created something called our Video Vault, 60 of those videos, our first 60 of them. So 5 years worth. And we're just adding them to the pile here of value for the Elite VIP exclusive. So, I mean, if you put a $100 value on each one of those videos, this is a $6,000 item. And I know that each of those videos is worth more than $100, but you know, we just try to put some kind of value on there to give you an idea of how much is included in this video vault. It's absolutely incredible. We have one more bonus for you guys on the VIP exclusive.
Well, I'm not going to shut that down.
Well, I failed to mention it, and I'm sorry. I missed the cue to say it, but we have in the process of growing Infusionsoft from 7 figures to 100 million, right? And I'm not going to claim sole responsibility for that, but I was right in the cockpit for that whole journey, and I was the person running all of the strategic planning and execution, all of the people, processes, and systems to grow a business. Like, I was right in the mix. We developed a lot of real tools, real processes, real help to make the journey possible for us. And we took all of those documents, all of those tools, all of those processes, and we put them all in a binder. We call it the Elite Binder. And so if you want real examples from a real company, like our Series A, B, and C decks for when we raised capital, those decks are in there. Our quarterly planning documents, quarter after quarter for years, in that binder. The progression of our organization structure over time, in that binder. Our behavior-based interview questions for when we go to hire somebody, in that binder. Like, it is so full of resources that any business who is going to grow is going to need to do most of these things anyway. Why not have an example? Like, it's almost like a cheat sheet. And while you can't copy and paste directly, you can definitely copy as much as is applicable to your business, and we'll give you a running start on all that work. So we're throwing that in. If they buy that Elite VIP exclusive, they get that binder as well.
So if someone's watching this video today and they're ready to get more information, they want to talk to you or someone on your team, Grow with Elite, that's GROWWITH Elite. We're going to go ahead and drop that email below, growwithelite@vipfinancialeducation.com. That's going to send you and your team a notification that they do have interest in getting some additional information or talking to someone live on a consultation. Guys, be sure and include your first and your last name, as well as a phone number, best times to reach you. Obviously, it's going to come through in your email, so they're going to have that. Their team's going to be really good. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of interest in this. Brett, safe to assume inside of 24, 48 hours, someone on your squad is going to be able to get back in touch with them, answer any pertinent questions, and if they are interested, clearly talk about next steps.
Absolutely. And in fact, because this is because you're somebody that I know personally, and you've been through our program before, and given us this opportunity to share, I'm personally going to be fielding those calls in the short term. I don't know how long I'll be able to do that, but for early people who are reaching out, I'll be the one reaching back out to them. I've told my team I'm going to assess this. We're going to see if we get inundated. We only have so many spots, right, in each monthly class, and we already have people filling up for the August and September dates. And so if you guys want into one of our Elite Ignition classes, you got to take action. Fill out or send the email, as Michael said, growwithelite@vipfinancialeducation.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
And guys, that's the real deal. They do have limited spaces. That is there is scarcity involved with this, just like a lot of things that we bring here on the channel. So go ahead and send him and his team an email. That's phenomenal. That Brett, the man, is going to be the person that's going to be reaching out to you, at least here initially, guys. Can't promise you that these prices are going to stick around as well. So if this is of interest, at least shoot the email over, talk to them, have that quick consultation. For a lot of you, it's not going to be the right fit, period. But that's okay. It does not hurt to explore, at least see if it's an option maybe for you down the road. Some of you, this might be the perfect fit for. This might get you from that 500 to a million, or a million to 3 million. Guys, that's life-changing differences in building a business. So, Brett, we appreciate you having on today. If you don't mind, we are going to bring on a testimonial here in the next couple days. We've talked about that and would love to bring you back on the channel for updates periodically if you're okay with that.
Yeah, would love to be a guest again, and I promise to be more brief in the future, but I have so much to give and so much to share. So thank you for having me.
No, we appreciate all of your insight, obviously your expertise on that. So phenomenal video today, guys. And thank you, Brett, in particular. And we will talk soon. Thank you, sir.